just get your mind together and come on across to me. We'll hold hands and we'll watch the sunrise.
Well, in the last video we looked at these three important cards in the I Ching, which are probably the most important cards in the I Ching actually. And these are the Wanderer, which is when you go on pilgrimage and you leave everything behind, you give all your money, everything away, and you just walk like the Buddha or the Christ out into nothing, find out what happens to you. That is the Wanderer, okay? And I said that what happens when the Wanderer, to the Wanderer is, the Wanderer eventually he finds a place where he belongs. And I did not know the name of that hexagram. The hexagram is actually called the Marrying Maiden. The Marrying Maiden. And once you get to the place where you belong, then you can work on what has been spoiled. Now I covered that in the last video. Okay, but the Marrying Maiden and the Wanderer, this is a kind of a journey to the divine couple, really, because you have to give everything away before you can find your divine partner. Now, I wanted to just have a look at the book, the I Ching reading for the Marrying Maiden, because I want to show you that these ancient writings are actually corrupted, and often writings are corrupted in the sexual area, because sexuality is such a... Sex and money is really like the same, yeah. One is yin and the other is yang. And so the Marrying Maiden refers to the hexagram of the divine couple. That is heaven and earth. When heaven and earth come fully together, all the opposites are balanced. Here we have the Marrying Maiden. Yet you'll see that some of the commentary on it is not good. It's not a good thing, because what happened in a lot of these cultures when they became fallen demonic, there weren't natural coupleships anymore. There was arranged marriages and things like that, where they prevented the individual partners from partnering for love. And because they used to go to fortune teller, the people, I Ching readers, the I Ching reader would do a reading for the couple, the lady or something like that, and they get the Marrying Maiden card, and they'd have to give them the opposite of what it meant because of political correctness and all the rest of it. And so the Marrying Maiden, the text of the Marrying Maiden has become corrupted really. As a few parts of the I Ching are like this, you have to read between the lines like all kind of these old writings, and you only need one I Ching book. This is the I Ching book you need. All the others are just nonsense. And so this one is the Richard Wilhelm translation with the foreword by C.G. Jung. And so this is the actual book that you want to get if you want to study the I Ching. Forget about all the others. This is the only one you need. Now, I'm going to read to you here what it says about the Marrying Maiden. It says here, the hexagram of the Marrying Maiden is based on the idea that the girl is marrying on her own initiative. Her character is not good. Therefore, the commentary on the decision says nothing that would further. Now, this is an absolute nonsense. This is a kind of... This has been inserted in here, this writing, probably by Richard Wilhelm, who's a Christian, yeah. Now, it's a great translation, don't get me wrong, but this, what I find is I have to read the oldest of the writings. Like, for example, the part that hasn't been messed around with at all really, because nobody really fully understands it well enough to mess with it, is the sequence. Now, the sequence discusses the order of the hexagrams in sequence, and this is probably one of the most important studies that you can do. Go through, as you study hexagrams, you look at always look at the sequence first, and then look into it. And the sequence is not the I Ching is split into two parts. The first part has got all the hexagrams in it, and the second part is what's called the commentaries. That's got the sequence in. So it's the second part that you need to read to get the sequence. And it says, the married maiden, the sequence says, through progress one is sure to reach the place where one belongs. Hence there follows the hexagram of the married maiden. Now you see, that has nothing bad about it at all. You know, that's like, you know, we're heading in the direction, we've got to progress, and now we find ourselves in the place where we belong. With the married maiden, yeah? So everything's perfect about that. And it says here this hexagram is judged in very different ways. In later times it was considered blah 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 and so on and so forth. You know, you're getting a mixture, you're getting the corrupted mixed in with the original. So you have to read between the lines of this. And the lines also, you've got the lines, the meaning of the lines, and there's all sorts of bad stuff in here, you know. The lines are like the fortune-telling aspects of the I Ching. And I think it's an area to steer away from, really, the lines. It can take you into some strange places. But it's also worth reading. Some of the lines are very, very good where they haven't been corrupted. But if they've been corrupted, they're no good at all, because the lines are what they use to deliver the fortune-telling aspect of it. And so they would tend to become more corrupted as people sort of modified them according to what they thought. So it says here the image is interesting because it says it's got nothing bad about it at all. It says the image, thunder over the lake. Thunder over the lake. Now thunder is the god of thunder, that's Thor, that's like the divine Zeus, the warrior god, the god Zeus himself, boom, on top. And then you've got the lake underneath, which is the lady, the young maiden come to receive Zeus, you know, his divine partner. Okay, so thus the superior man understands the transitory in the light of the eternity of the end. To understand the transitory and the eternity, surely this is what happens to you when you couple in the divine union, you together with your divine partner. The transitory is understood in the light of the eternity of the end. Okay, you can see that. Now, this is just an example. You know, I have a lot of experience with I Ching, so I can sort of see this stuff in it. But you've got to find this stuff for yourself. Read the pieces which are important. This sort of stuff, they can't change it very easily because it's so profound, you know, so they can't mess around with it so easily. So this is the better part of it. Now, it says here, the married maiden describes the great meaning of heaven and earth. The great meaning of heaven and earth. Zeus and Athene, whatever, I don't know. Who's the partner of Zeus? Hera, maybe? If heaven and earth do not unite, all creatures fail to prosper. Okay, so without the divine couple, there can be no prosperity at all. That's the start, the beginning of prosperity. And the married maiden means the end and beginning of humanity, the end and the beginning. Okay? Okay, now it says here, the weird thing about it is it says here, like, undertakings bring misfortunes or don't do anything. The places are not the appropriate ones. And nothing that would further the yielding rest upon the heart. Now, if you're a man, you're the opposite of a woman, okay? In the coupleship, it could be a man, it could be a woman making this reading. How are you going to know whether, how can the same thing apply to the man as it does to the woman? Because in this moment of marrying, this coming together of the two opposites, what are the appropriate places? And so, in my experience, it's the opposite of what it is in the world. So, when the man is in the world and trying to find his mate, you know, like the caveman approach, then what happens is the man goes chasing after the woman, and when he finds her, he tries to kiss her, yeah? Now, in my experience, that It's the lady who takes the man, not the other way around. Okay? So in this moment, the man is simply at rest, and the lady comes to him and kisses him. Okay? That is the joining of the divine couple. And this is why it probably says undertakings bring misfortune. That means if you try to jump the gun, if you do anything, it's misfortune. It's got to happen naturally without you doing anything. And only the lady can bring this about for some reason. Okay. And so if he was talking to her, maybe the lady doesn't undertake anything either. Perhaps her lips just move forward and she's action, and her action, she can't help herself. And the man can't help himself, he's become passive. And in this moment, these kind of opposites happen, and then bang, you have this transformation into the couple, as the first kiss is encountered uniquely by the two initiates, because it's an initiation. It's going to change you forever. Okay? And then you've found a place where you belong. And now, there's some other things that come after that as well, some other stages in this, but the main thing is you get to the point where you work on what has been spoiled. That's your job, after you become a couple. And it's the same thing, a similar thing happens with the wedding of the group. And so there's sort of sections in here which is to do with the individual, sections to do with the group. And the group section is where the work on what has been spoiled is in, a bit earlier on in here, because that's the group working together on what has been spoiled. Yet the man in the coupleship also has to, the couple can then work on what's been, it's all levels, it's levels going up. When you're at the national level, the nation works on what's been spoiled, yeah? Thinks about it, talks about it, does it. Okay, I think that's all I wanted to say about it, the marrying maiden. And it's probably the last thing I'm going to tell you about the I Ching as part of this Individualist Manifesto. It's necessary to come to the couple before we can do anything in the form of a group. And the group has to form naturally. It's not possible to force it together. You can't go running after the group and try to kiss it. It's not going to happen. Yeah? The group has to find you somehow. The group has to form spontaneously. And so I found myself spontaneously joining groups. I joined a yurt community, I joined a traveller community spontaneously. I joined a yurt community spontaneously. I joined a utopia experiment spontaneously, except the internet was involved, so it didn't work out. You see, I went and looked on the internet, found it on the internet, and it didn't work out. The other two did. I didn't find on the internet. I just found by walking the earth. But the one that came about through the internet, that didn't work out, and it wasted a lot of my energies. But I mean, I learned a lot from it. Yeah, I learned what I'm telling you now from it. It's very important. And let's have a look what this is. Encountering. Now it's interesting because now before I saw ku and ka, this is Kau, Kau. So it's ko, which is the highest thing, and the u is becoming spoiled. The highest thing becoming spoiled. Encountering. So let's have a look what the I Ching says about encountering. That's hexagram 44. I'm going to go to the back because that's where it's got the sequence. 44. The I Ching's teaching us about itself. This is the best way to study I Ching, let it teach you about itself. So 44. 44. Okay, now this is a very, 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 very bad word. You know, I know this hexagram, but they've changed the name of it, okay? Okay, and the name of it, encountering, is not as good as what it's normally called in the Richard Wilhelm version. Because I only got these cards just so that I could just pull a card out, find the hexagram, but I've got into the habit of using them. And so, because they're easy. So encountering is coming to meet. Coming to meet. Now I understand the hexagram. Okay. 44, 2 squares, you know. It's not a good thing coming to meet. Coming to meet means coming into, let's see what it says. Through resoluteness. Resoluteness is staying your ground. Through resoluteness, sticking to your point of view, one is certain to encounter something. So you're going to meet something, coming to meet. Hence there follows a hexagram of coming to meet. Coming to meet means encountering. Oh, it is encountering here. That's what they say there, come to meet me. Okay, so but coming to meet is it's easier to remember the coming to meet. It says here, coming to meet, the maiden is powerful. One should not marry such a maiden. Okay. And so, what the marrying maiden means is the coming together into groups, people meeting one another, coming to meet, coming together. The marrying maiden signifies the good meeting, but the coming to meet indicates this is not appropriate meeting. Okay. When you meet the opposite, when you meet the devil himself, this is coming to meet. Okay. I think I'm just showing you how you have to take these things with a pinch of salt, and you have to work together with them. I mean, you know, the back of here, I don't know, I don't even look at it. The only purpose for having the cards, and these were, they're hard to find. This guy, I got mine off eBay. I just found these on eBay and ordered them. And it's just easy to pick a card, you know. I mean, it's just easy to get. You can do the hexagram by reading it, but you know how nature works is the more of nature that supports this is that you always get what you need. You know, there's teaching of Mick Jagger. What's that song? You can't always get what you want. You get what you need. Always get what you need. And so, this is what you need. Okay, right. This one is initial difficulty. Now, again, this card is normally called difficulty at the beginning. Okay. Now, difficulty at the beginning means, you know, one of the hexagrams is pushing upwards, like the seed that just pushes upwards. And what happens is it meets resistance. And then from out that resistance comes the hexagram difficulty at the beginning, you know. In the beginning, it's always like difficult, all right? And so when groups form, or new couples and things like that, there can be difficulty at the beginning. So this is how the I Ching is used, and if you want a bit of advice from the I Ching, you can get it like that. The I Ching is saying it's difficulty at the beginning. Now this is the beginning, and what I'm talking about, maybe it's going to be difficult for you to actually come to terms with what I'm saying. But if you persevere, then you'll find the difficulties pass away. As we become more used to something, and we grow stronger, and we're not so sensitive, thin-skinned, we become thick-skinned, like a plant that grows and becomes thick-skinned, and then it can push through the difficulty at the beginning. And we're actually growing that thick skin now. We found with the movement of the new movement into freedom, we found difficulty at the beginning, and pushing through was very hard, but now we're getting hardened. Our shell is getting hardened, so we can stand and firmly in the light of the new rising sun and move forward and do the right thing. Justice will prevail in the universe. And that is the law, the absolute law that comes that you always get what you need, is justice, because the universe is completely just. There's no injustice anywhere. Anything that happens to somebody is complete justice. And that justice is because it's good for the planet. It may not be good for the person himself, but it's good for the planet, it's good for the nation, it's good for their group, it's good for the couple. Ultimately it's good for them, because if they're misbehaving themselves and causing bad stuff for all the other stuff, they have to learn their lesson. So it's good for them that they learn their lesson. So that's how justice prevails in the universe. It's all just. And the planet will destroy itself to teach the world that there is justice. But in the end, the planet says, enough is enough, bye-bye, dinosaur, boom, gone, okay? That's the way it is. The dinosaurs ate too much, that's all it was, they grew too big. And that's what humanity is doing. It's eating too much and it's grown too big. You know, the I Ching has a sort of a technical basis for the I Ching. You can study the mathematical basis for the I Ching. There's a lot of stuff in the I Ching, the structure of the hexagrams and so on. And as I say, this is the best way to study it is this. And you know, I made up the yarrow stalks and I learned all this method and that, but I don't bother with that anymore. I mean, you can just open the book and get a reading and go, this paragraph here, the master said, danger arises when a man feels secure in his position, you see? Destruction threatens when a man seeks to preserve his worldly estate. Okay. Confusion develops when a man has put everything in order. Therefore the superior man does not forget danger in his security. Okay. Okay. So we can't be frightened of anything in the world. It means that one has to be a little bit modest. That's all it's telling us really. And not to get too thick-skinned, so that we push through the difficulty and then we come off or we come through as arrogant. We don't want to do that, okay? Proud and arrogant. Pride is okay, but the bad pride, there's a bad kind of pride. Modesty is the right thing, everything in moderation. I just had my lunch, it was the same small plate that you saw the other day, exactly the same thing, and I loved every bit of it. And what I've been doing lately is I've been cooking a container of rice, just putting it in the fridge, and it keeps me going for 2 or 3 days. I don't just eat rice, I eat rice and then I'll eat a bit of bread and cheese or something like that. And in between, I had a fish cake yesterday. So, but I really feel good eating the rice and some chopped up tomato and onion, just a little bit of onion, not too much onion, and a bit of olive oil on top of it. And when you're eating it, you just feel, your body just loves it, just like wants to put it in because it's good for it. Yeah. That's enough. Thanks for watching.
If you can just get your